We're going to learn some basic knit purl stitches, what stockinette is, how to hold your needles and yarn, and just some basic things that I wish I would have learned more quickly than I did when I was teaching myself to knit. So to start off, how you hold your needles and your yarn. Again, I think I said this in my last post, everyone knits differently. So keeping in mind that what works for me may not work for you, we will look at the way that I do it and you can adjust from there. This is just a little view, helpful tip in case you just can't figure it out for yourself. So your work is always going to be starting on the left side, and you're always going to work from left to right. So you kind of have to adjust how you hold it because of the work that's on the yarn. So I usually wrap my pinky around, completely around the needle. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there. Like this, and then my ring and middle finger will rest against the work and the needle on the back side. And I usually grip the work with my thumb in the front, and sometimes with this or with this, depending upon what I'm doing. Typically I leave my first finger loose so that I can push the work off the end or push the needle if need be. So the right hand needle, if you're just moving, you're not knitting, if you're just moving the needle, I usually just hold it like, I don't mean like a stick, just like however is easiest for you. And when I am working the yarn, I typically really don't even hold on to the needle until I move it. So the working yarn, this is the tail, you don't need that, that's the cast on tail. So the working yarn I hold in my right hand because I'm right-handed. I don't know if it's different for left-handed knitters, but I usually wrap the tail, the working yarn, the tail, around my pinky, sometimes twice depending upon the thickness or thinness of the yarn. So wrap it around, and then I'll grip the majority of the tension really comes from here, not from my pinky. This is just to keep it so that I don't have to drop the yarn every time I do a pass over or a throw or whatever. So like this. So now that you know the basics of how to hold it, or how I hold it, you can base off on your own how you want to do it, what's most comfortable for you. So there are two basic stitches, a knit and a purl. And a knit and a purl make up every stitch, or a combination of those two make up every stitch that we use in knitting. This is stockinette, one of your most basic, aside from like garter, that you use. There's a right and a wrong side. What you see here is the right side, which is the knit stitches, and this is the wrong side, which is the purl stitches. And so it kind of looks, pretty, kind of ugly. Not necessarily ugly, but I guess it's completely subjective. But this is the side that you would want the people to see, and this is sort of, looks like tire tread on the back side that will be hidden or up against your body if you're wearing it. Okay, so stockinette is comprised of knit stitches on the right side and purl stitches on the wrong side. So that being said, a knit stitch, one of the things when I was knitting, when I first started knitting, was it was difficult for me to really know where the yarn went when I wasn't using it or when I was getting ready to use it. So the biggest thing is to remember that when you're on knit stitches, your yarn is in the back, and when you're on purl stitches, your yarn is in the front. So a knit stitch, you take your right hand needle and you insert it into the front of the loop, and you're going to bring it out the back side. So the loop has obviously a front and a back here. You're going to go under the front part of the loop, and you're going to go on top of the back part of the loop. And then you'll take the working yarn into your hand, hold it however is comfortable, and you're going to wrap counterclockwise around the right hand needle, pull it a little taut so that it's not all bulgy and you don't cut into the yarn when you pull it through. So you're going to take the work and you're going to pull it into the front. Okay, then you're going to slide your work and you're going to take the stitch that was on your left hand needle, you're going to just drop it, and now you've created a stitch on the right side. So do that again. Insert your needle into the front, and it's going to come out the back. And again, your working yarn should be in the back of the work. You're going to wrap counterclockwise around the needle. And then you're going to push the needle through to the front and slide that stitch off the left and create it on the right. Okay, do that again, more quickly. And one of the things about not dropping the yarn is you can go faster if that's something you want to work up to, because you're not dropping it, moving it, picking it up every time. It's just constantly in your hand. So you're in the front, underneath the front part of the loop, pushed on top of the back part of the loop, counterclockwise, push it down and through the loop, pull it out through the front, drop, and create. With stockinette stitch, you can kind of tell here with a little bit of work that I have created already, it curls. That's just one of the properties of stockinette. If you block your piece, it will lay flat. And how tight or loose you knit will also affect it. I knit pretty tightly, so mine curls a little more than normal, but it's just what it is. You didn't do anything wrong, that's just how it comes out. Alright, 2 more stitches. And for the final one, I'll show you slowly again. Into the front, out the back, wrap counterclockwise around the needle, and push through. Alright, so that's the front side, that's knitting. When you flip the work, again, it's going to go in your left hand. You're going to obviously notice a difference in how it looks. There's sort of a little knot. The loop that you've dropped is what forms the row. As you can tell on the front, it's smooth. So this is how you know you're on the purl side. So once you're on the purl side, you're going to be working with your yarn in the front now. You're basically going to, it's sort of the opposite of what you just did. So it's before you were going into the front, now you're going to come through the back. So for the purl stitch, you're going to take your right hand needle, go into the back, and come out the front of the work. Okay, see what we did there? Now you're going to take your yarn, you're going to wrap it again counterclockwise around the front, the right needle, and you're going to do, again, you're going to push it through. You're just going to the back instead of pulling to the front and slide it off. And then you want to just sort of tighten, not too much, you don't want it to be too tight, but just enough that it doesn't look bulky or slide off. Okay, so again, slide your needle into the front, from the back to the front for the purl stitch, and wrap counterclockwise around the needle, push it, and slide that off the left hand needle. And again,